Hi, hi everybody. My name is Rachel Swanson. I'm a senior solutions engineer, and I'm currently your point of contact for your implementation. I see a lot of familiar names on the call, so it's likely that some of us have already been in communication, but it's great to be here with you today.
Hi, my name is Katie Morgan, and I'm a senior account executive, and I work as a part of Dominic and Rachel's team.
And so we're really here today to kind of give everybody a status update, and we'll be doing this weekly from now through till I think the week after Labor Day, as folks are coming on with the Virtual Virginia Expansion project. We want to let you know where everybody's at within that, as well as open this up once we do that status update to an opportunity to just answer some Q&A. We know that a lot of you, you're brand new to Canvas, you're maybe brand new to having a learning management system, so we're here to provide some expertise and support, we hope, as you bring this on and begin to work with your students and faculty.
Alrighty, so I'll go ahead and get started here. So we're just going to do a quick status update, and I also wanted to cover some common questions, common people interested in the process. So I just wanted to take the time to do that while we're all here together today to handle that. So technical details have been confirmed on for 85 divisions. What that means is I have gone through your initial intake form. I've reviewed it. I've validated it, made sure that the information that you've provided is feasible, and have updated our records according to that. So then I take that information and I send that out to your technical contact just to confirm that the information that I've received is in fact accurate. And I hope to receive a response from you confirming that, because sometimes we need to make adjustments to some of the things that you did request. So that's what that initial process includes.
Rachel, hold on one second. We've got some folks that are saying they can't hear. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, Dominic, I think there was a problem with Zoom because I couldn't hear, and then all of a sudden I got kicked out and let back in. So they might be reconnecting like I just did.
Okay.
I had the same problem with Rachel. So I think, let's see if they can hear now.
Dominic, can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine. It never cut out for me.
Yeah, I can hear both of you now, so I'm guessing it's probably the same situation that I had where it disconnected us and reconnected us, but for a little while we just couldn't hear anything and then it disconnected. So,
okay. I'll go back to the beginning there. So what I started saying was that technical details have been confirmed for 85 divisions. What that means is you have completed the intake form. I have reviewed the information that you completed in that intake form. I validated it. I've made sure that the requests that you've made are technically possible, and I have then put that into an email back to you for you to confirm those details. And the reason why that's necessary is we just want to make sure that, we have an understanding of what your intentions are, going forward with the implementation of the project. So if you've received that email from me, the first step that you can take is to respond to confirm those details. And the reason that's important is sometimes some information has been indicated in the form that maybe doesn't match up with the way that we, would typically implement, an SIS or an authentication method, or, confirming just some of those kinds of details. So it's important that we just initiate that process all on the same page and that you confirm that the information that I have is indeed correct. The next status update that we have to share with everybody is that 7 divisions have been fully implemented. What does that mean? That means that your third-party authentication that each division is using, whether that's Google, Microsoft, LDAP, any number of those third-party authentication methods have been set up. So those users are using their district's own or division's own login credentials to access Canvas. It also means that the student information system has been integrated with Canvas and is sending us updated rostering information on a nightly basis. And then we have 26 additional divisions where the implementation process has started. So within those 26 divisions, those individuals have received login information to Canvas, have access to their Canvas environment, and are somewhere between setting up authentication and connecting to the student information system, and maybe are even in the process of validating data in a test environment to make sure that the data looks good. For those wondering, I am working in the order that the intake forms were submitted. So I am working just in chronological order through those. Please, though, do communicate to me if you have immediate needs. If you have a training next week and you submitted your form last week, that information would be very helpful for me to know. I don't want you to get to the day before that training and be frustrated that you haven't heard from me. So if you do have immediate needs that are happening, we have some ways in which we can get you early access to the Canvas environment. Based on what those timelines and immediate needs are, it may not include the integration being completely spun up, but we could certainly provide access or come to a resolution of what works based on what your needs are and what's happening within your specific division. I did want to just walk through what the implementation process looks like. This has been outlined in a few emails, but it's probably helpful to hear through that process versus see it in writing. So the implementation process after the confirmation of those technical details includes us creating your Canvas environment and adding the administrators who you identified to us, providing them administrative access. At that point, you pretty much really do have the keys to your Canvas kingdom. You're added as administrators and you have full rights to that environment at that point. During that process, I also will communicate instructions to set up the authentication method that you communicated to me that you wanted your users to use to log into Canvas. So that, so the first step is getting access to the Canvas environment. The next is somebody on your side setting up the authentication with the instructions that I will specifically provide you. Once authentication has been set up, we will then connect to the student information system. What the student, the student information system, that process is a little bit different based on the student information system. So about 80% of you are on PowerSchool, so I can speak to that specifically. We will be sending you your CIF configuration details. If you are already using CIF with the state, this will be a new setup. It's very easy to create a new zone, but that has been an area of confusion for a few individuals. We will be creating a separate zone for you to connect to Canvas. It just tends to be a much faster, stable connection for whatever reason. So if you haven't received those configuration details from me, please wait before you do anything with your CIF agent. I will be sending those configuration details as well as the specific setup instructions and the mappings that need to happen for us to have all the data that is required. Any other SIS, it's usually initiated on your end, meaning that there's an API key and secret that you need to provide to us. If it's Clever, you need to begin sharing data with us. If it's ClassLink, same kind of idea. Please never send me either teacher, student, or API key and secret details over email. When we reach that point of implementation, I will request them specifically with a secure link. It's very important to us that we're handling your data securely, so not sending those details over email is really important. But again, I will be prompting all of these stages along the way when we're ready for the next step. Once we get to that point and we have confirmed that we have access to your data, we actually import it into a test environment first. So we'll import it into a test environment. We'll ask you to validate that data and confirm that the structures and everything within that data look correct. At that point, once you confirm that the data looks good, then we will then move that over into production. So that is a two-step process, just so you know. We do bring it into a test environment before the production environment. And then a couple other logistics related to this. These are some common questions and concerns, mostly related to rollover. We're in this time of year where many of you have teachers who are very anxious and interested and want to get inside of Canvas, but as you know, your rollover has not yet occurred yet. So what we are doing is, as a part of the implementation process, I have requested from those of you who I've been in contact with what those rollover dates are. So we're aware of those and can coordinate around your rollover. That doesn't mean that we can't do anything though prior to rollover. So what we will be doing is we'll be importing a partial data set into that test environment that I just referred to. It's probably some of your 1920 data if you haven't done rollover. So what from after you validate that test data, what we're going to do is only out of that set of data that we brought into test, when we go into production, we're only going to be bringing your teachers. So that's going to prevent data duplication and issues by having, run the sync of two different academic years. After your rollover has occurred, after that date, and we'll confirm again with you that rollover has occurred, we will then bring your full data set into Canvas so that we are coordinating with your rollover, but also allowing your teachers to get into Canvas ahead of rollover. I know some of you aren't rolling over until August, so we want to make sure that your teachers can get in before that. And this seems to be what we've determined to be the best approach. So I know I've said a lot. What that really all boils down to is, even if you're haven't rolled over yet, that's okay. We're just going to provision the teachers. After rollover, we'll bring the rest of the data in. Prior to bringing the rest of the data in, we will give you another opportunity to validate that data in a test environment for those concerned about that. And then after implementation, just wanted to kind of go over what happens then. Once you're technically implemented, that certainly isn't the end of the journey. So just wanted you to be aware that your faculty will have access to our Tier 1 phone and chat support. What that means is every single teacher will have the ability to initiate a chat session or call a toll-free number with our Salt Lake City-based support team. The service level agreement is that we answer in under 2 minutes. So it's fantastic support available to all of your teachers teachers and administrators, of course, within your division. That has not yet been set up. That's something that we're in the process of setting up. So it's not available today, but we expect that to be ready very shortly. So just be on the lookout for that. It's available right within the help menu within Canvas. So as soon as we get that set up, and I will be communicating all of this to everybody as we go. There's also a training portal available to all of the teachers and administrators. Again, that's found in the help menu inside of Canvas. So when you think about those beginning stages, where do teachers start first? I really recommend starting in that training portal first. There is a pathway within that course that's called K-12 Ready for the First Day, basically. So it's a series of courses that get teachers ready to teach with Canvas over the summer. And then in addition to that, there are also trainings available through Virtual Virginia and VSTE. In my communication that I send to you when you gain access to the Canvas environment, I also provide all of this information. So everything that I have just told you is also being sent to you via writing in our email communications, but I just wanted to review this because these are the things that I'm most often getting phone calls about, really wanting to walk through that process. And so I just wanted to take the time to discuss that verbally. And that is all that I had. The rest of our time today, we have until 2 o'clock, is to answer any questions that you have. And I do see that there are some in the chat. I'm not sure if Katie or Dominic are monitoring that. And
Yes, been monitoring and answering.
Okay, are they applicable to me or?
I had one question about grade pass back to Synergy, and I answered it. If they have access to the Edgepoint API, we can certainly do that.
Okay, perfect.
Now it's your time, everybody.
I'll read if that's helpful. It says, when will the email come about our training?
I'm not sure if that training is the training portal or training that has been specifically arranged.
Patrick, what division are you from? Oh, okay, about the portal.
Oh, about the portal. Okay, so that a link to that information comes when I grant you access to your Canvas environment. But even without that email, if you yet have access to Canvas, then the portal is available to you in the help menu.
Dave has a question about uploading from Google Drive into Canvas. He says that they're having some issues uploading directly from Google Drive into a course module. Do you want to demo how that works?
Sure. Just give me 1 second while I navigate to an account here.
So Jamie and Mark have asked about the Edgepoint API for Synergy. That is typically something that they charge extra for. It is possible to integrate with Synergy without going via API. We've got other methods that we can do that. But if you do desire grade passback, you need access to that API. And so if you're planning on that for fall, for instance, that's something that you're going to want to get on top of pretty quickly. Mark asks about PowerSchool. It's a little bit different with PowerSchool as far as the grade passback goes. Rachel can explain that a little bit more.
Yeah, for PowerSchool, all you need is the SIF connection. We leverage SIF for grade passback as well. So no additional cost there for PowerSchool.
Okay. Let's see. Maria asked about when will the content from Virtual Virginia be available in Commons? That's a good question for us to ask our friends from Virtual Virginia. What is the timeline on that?
Hey, good question. Brian here, Virtual Virginia. We have one thing available now that we've shared in the Commons. We just have to make sure you're set up to receive in the Commons. And that's the Go Open VA course. We made that available. And we are in the process now of updating all the courses. You know, this is typically that time of year where we do that at Virtual Virginia. So we are in the June, July phase where we have revisions and course updates. We're working on a calendar that will outline all of those dates and when courses are available. Sarah Warnock's here as well. She can speak to what is currently available as well.
Thanks, Brian. So as Brian said, the Introduction to OER course is available, and that would be a great first run to test and make sure that the import is working well once your integration has been set up. And then we will be rolling pieces out, starting with our core courses first. And there are a couple pieces to finalize with that update. With the logo, and making sure that our content is working well with those content that's typically presented as an LTI through Studio, our video content, and our interactives through H5P. We want to make sure that that is fully functional and in a version that will open for you in Commons. And so that is part of the main piece that we're working through right now.
Yeah, Sarah noted, not only are we releasing all of our courses to divisions across the state, we also got a new logo last week on top of it. So we have to rebrand everything in the courses, so that added a couple days to that list. So things are coming, but obviously with all the expansion and growth, there are little things that have held us up on some items.
Rachel, before you show off the Google Drive integration, there's a question I got from Lisa about general timelines. If they submitted their documentation last week, when can they expect their instance to be ready for them to start training teachers? What's our turnaround looking like? Rachel, are you there?
Sorry, that mute button. So right now I'm currently working with divisions that submitted about 2 weeks ago. So I would guess probably within the next week to 10 days, we'll be in touch. Typically, once we initiate that process, so once your Canvas environment is created, it's about 2 to 3 weeks before things are smooth sailing. And that range, it could happen in 3 days, but there are just so many variables that sometimes are within our control and sometimes out of our control. It, is based upon your team's availability and, making sure that things get connected on your side. So if you were just submitted in the last week, I would say we'll probably, be well underway within 3 weeks. But again, if you have things that are urgent, please communicate that to me because we could do some things like just getting your Canvas environment set up and do some manual account creations based on what your needs are there.
All right, and without further ado, here's how Google Drive integration works.
Yeah, all right. So here I am inside a Canvas course. I've got a module with some content already in it. Anytime I want to add anything to a module, I always use this plus icon here. If I want to bring something in from Google Drive, I'm going to select External Tool. That's where your integrated tools exist. And then I'm just going to select Google Drive right from there. This does require that the LTI, is set up in your Canvas environment. I have been doing my best to configure that for you when I create your Canvas environment. There's always a possibility that there was a little bit of human error and I forgot one. So if you're expecting to see that and you don't see that drop down, please just let me know. And then here is my Google Drive. It appears here. I can search if I would like to. I'm going to go ahead and grab this slide presentation and bring this in. So it'll grab that from my drive, create the URL for me, It's going to pull in the file name by default, but I have an option to change that if I want. So if I want to name this Google Slides and then the file name, I can do that. And then I will add that here to my module, and then I can move that wherever I would like. By default, it does come in unpublished. That gives you an opportunity to figure out where you want to place it and what you want to do with that item before it's visible to students. But then as soon as I click that publish icon there, then that is visible to students. So I'm not sure if that's the process that's currently happening and you're still struggling, but please just let us know.
Dave, was that helpful? Or was there any part of that that looked like they were going through that process but not able to do it?
I'll double check. We were going through it. I think we may have been using external URL as opposed to external tool. And so it would open up your Drive account, but there wasn't a submit button. And so we were trying to kind of problem solve and figure out if it was a settings within Drive or what it was, but I don't think we used external tool. I'm pretty sure we were using external URL to upload content directly. Thank you for clarifying.
Very welcome. Rachel, Nicole asked, is it the same process for adding Nearpod activities?
It is, yep. So any LTI, so what an LTI is, that is an acronym that stands for Learning Tools Interoperability. That's a fancy word for just saying third-party apps or third-party tools. Any of those that you integrate with Canvas are accessible there from that menu that I just demonstrated.
So Mark asks about the Google Drive integration, and this applies to Office 365 as well. Does it make a copy of the file for the student?
The process that I just walked through is giving students read-only access to a file that is still linked to your Google Drive. So if I were to make changes to that slide presentation, then all the students would have access to that. But if you're looking for the ability to create an individualized copy for every student in the course, and allow them to make modifications to that, that is a slightly different process. That would happen through an assignment because that would likely be something that is submitted by the student and graded, right? So that needs to be an assignment, and the specific feature in Canvas that we call that is a cloud assignment. So if you're looking for specific documentation or a guide on that kind of process, just go to our guides or Google, Canvas LMS cloud assignment, or maybe Dominic is going to do us a solid and pop a link to those instructions in the chat.
I can do that. Rachel, can you speak to any built-in video conferencing features within Canvas that teachers will have access to?
Yeah, absolutely. So a few things here. Canvas does have an integration with Teams meetings, Google Meet, and Zoom. So if those are tools that your division is already using, we can enable an integration for those tools through the implementation process. Just mention that to me and I will get that enabled for you. It's very easy to make those available. In addition to that, Canvas does also have a conferencing tool outside of those tools. It is this tool here in my navigation called Conferences. So I can select this. You will find information on this within the training portal. So don't forget that training portal. Everything I'm talking about, you're going to find more specific resources for this in the training portal. Also the Google integration, there are resources in there. But if I want to create a conference here from within Canvas, I would just go ahead and select Add Conference. I'll name that, provide a duration if that's applicable. You can enable recording, and the recordings will be retained for 14 days. And then, any description that you want. And then as soon as I start this, you'll see what that interface looks like. It's HTML5 based, it's mobile friendly, so you don't need to worry about Flash, Java, or any kind of plugins, but the conference here will launch and students and teachers can just hop right in. There is a whiteboard tool, so if I need to do any drawing, I can do that here for those sessions with my students.
So this conferencing tool is pretty full featured. It gives you the ability to break out rooms, share your desktop, share your webcams, as well as lock down student permissions as well. So that if you want to turn off their webcams, turn off their ability to chat with each other, you can do all of those things from the conferencing tool as well. Michael asks, do we need to register with Virtual Virginia to see the courses in Commons? I think the answer to that is you have to have filled out that form, whether you're a current Canvas client or not. People that fill out the intake form that we're using to kind of begin this are being put into the Virtual Virginia Commons Consortium. Rachel, do you want to show what, I know we don't have access to the Virtual Virginia Commons Consortium here, but just kind of show them what that might look like.
Yeah, so you've got Commons here on the left-hand side. Commons is the learning object repository that, you know, Canvas, that is that of Canvas's, right? You'll see that when I come into this environment, at this point, there are over 116,000 publicly available resources. So these are resources that have been shared with other educators across the country. A few featured items that we think are helpful there as well. I can filter here by the type of item that I'm looking for. You also can share items just in division. So if your teachers want to collaborate internally to share content with each other, they have the ability to share it within the division. You can create groups within the division. You can see I have a science PLC here. But let's take this K-12 curriculum community. It's that's where you'll see the Virtual Virginia content. So I can select that as a filter there. And here I would see all of the Virtual Virginia content. I can select one of those items, preview that in a little bit of detail if I would like to before bringing it in. And then I just simply click this import button and select the course that I want to import that into. So that's where you would go to find that content, and that's the process of importing that content in.
Just to go backwards for a second, we had a couple of questions about the conferencing limitations. What comes with Canvas is the free version of our tool. That includes all course-based rostering. So for somebody to participate in one of those conference sessions, they'd have to be enrolled in that course. You can absolutely enroll people yourself in the course. So if you wanted to invite an outsider and give them some sort of access, you can do that. As far as recordings go, the recordings in the free version are kept for 14 days and they're streamable, but not downloadable. We do have the ability to upgrade that to be able to hold those recordings for in perpetuity and also allow them to be downloaded if you like. But there's no limitations to the number of participants that can be in one of those conferences. Let's see. All right, this is a question for Virtual Virginia. When's the calendar of the Virtual Virginia course updates schedule expected to be published?
We have it internally. I think they're just putting the finishing touches on that calendar. So maybe by the end of the week, I'll definitely just a few days at most.
Okay, Lisa has said that they attended a meeting on June 4th that discussed implementation plans and training. They had to give emails to receive those plans and docs, but they haven't gotten them yet. Where can they find them, or have they been sent?
Is that a question for Canvas or Virtual Virginia?
Not positive. Lisa, first, what division are you from, Lisa? And second, was that a Canvas meeting or was that a Virtual Virginia meeting? While Lisa answers that, Aaron has asked, is there still a 10 conference limit with using the free version of Big Blue Button? That's not a hard-coded limit. You can certainly go beyond that. That was just us working with Big Blue Button to kind of manage usage on that tool during the height of the COVID school closures. But otherwise, there's really no limit on the number of concurrent sessions that you can use with free Big Blue Button. Lisa said it was a Canvas readiness webinar. She's in Spotsylvania. It was Virtual Virginia that put that webinar on.
Yeah, I believe that recording should have gone out. I will double check on that for you and make sure that Canvas and Virtual Virginia get that out to you guys again.
Keep the questions coming, everyone. We're here for you. All right, another for Virtual Virginia. When will information regarding the next outreach course be posted?
That's the question of the week in Virtual Virginia. Sarah, do you have information about when the next group's starting? There we go.
I do.
Friday,
We
June
are
19th.
actually launching the professional learning portal and all enrollment for the introduction to OER, the outreach resource, the outreach workshops, which we're breaking into 3 self-paced workshops, and some other options will be available for self-enrollment starting on Friday, June 19th.
Any other pressing questions, things that you may want to see while we're all together? Lisa asks, where can teachers best start learning before we have our own platform set up? Is there a great quick intro that we could be sending out? She doesn't want to overwhelm them, but start showing them all the great things. I'm going to drop a link in the chat here to our Canvas network. This is a great place to send folks that that may be able to do some self-paced learning. This link will take them to what we call the Growing with Canvas course, which is a great introduction for folks to just enroll themselves into. Note that it is not going to be in your Canvas instance. This is really just in our canvas.net course system where they can learn about Canvas outside. But it's a great first place to go to kind of get their feet wet. Jean asks, can you create a school-only Commons, or is the Commons section Virginia-wide only? Jean, you're going to have access to the global Commons for all Canvas users, the Virtual Virginia Consortium. You're going to have access to your division's Commons, and then from within there, administrators of your Canvas instance can create groups within your Commons. So if you wanted to make a school-wide Commons, you could do that. If you wanted to make a Commons for all the science teachers, you could do that. It's totally up to you how you may want to organize any subgroups in there. Lori asks, Virtual Virginia, we used to be able to view 2 elementary modules in the demo site, grades 1 and 4. They've recently disappeared. Is there a way to access those?
Great question. And through the, oh, I'm sorry, Brian, go ahead.
Well, yeah, we just updated the demo courses. We cycled those through. Sarah, I think you probably know about what's familiar, what's there now.
Kindergarten through grades 5, as well as some of the resources that have been released for 6 through 8 are available in the demo. And keep in mind that the released resources are just typically covered topics for quarter 4. Semester 1 content will be released in August. So, but to get an idea of what's available and the layout and the navigation, certainly take a look at that demo course. So again, it's kindergarten through grade 5 that are already in the demo course, and also some of the resources for 6 through 8.
Rachel, this one's for you. Can you limit what teachers have access to in the Commons? Let's say they only want them to have access to the virtual Virginia and other Virginia materials. Can they be limited from what they see?
Yes, there are some administrative functionality that you do have. Just give me a moment here. All right. All right, so some options that you have available here is to, you may choose to disallow users to see publicly shared content. So if that were the case, then they would just see in-district or virtual Virginia content, not the things that had been shared publicly. You also can configure what the default search results are. So that might include only showing them in district or virtual Virginia things by default, but then maybe allowing them to go back and see publicly shared things. So as an administrator, you do have an admin section here in Canvas. This is also where you would create groups, manage consortiums. That's how the virtual Virginia content is deployed. You also have statistics available to you. This is pretty powerful, good information for a division administrator or leader to see within this environment what are the most commonly used resources that are being leveraged by your staff. So yeah, there is a little bit of control here within this environment.
Anyone else, or would you like me to give your last 15 minutes back to you? Seeing no new questions, unless somebody yells at me that they're typing one up, we can cut this short. Know that we're going to be doing this every week. I think next week, though, Katie, you may be the one hosting it because Rachel and I have an appointment during the exact same time. But we'll make sure and meet on a weekly basis here to give you guys a touch point as far as what the status is of the project, as well as giving an opportunity for you guys to ask these open-ended questions. We do have a question. Is it best to contact Rachel if we want to know the status of where we're at as a county?
Yes. For
the time being, yes. And we will absolutely let you know if the person that you're to contact changes. We're in the process of getting somebody that's dedicated to this project for the next 12 months. And once he is fully onboarded, that will start to become your point of contact. All right, well, seeing no other questions, we'll cut it short. You guys get 15 extra minutes back in your day, spend them wisely, and we will see you all next week.
Thanks, everyone.